Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Life Lessons with Joe here. Let's talk about when you are underestimated and you come out on top. I told you guys already that I've been through a lot of trials and tribulations, right? And I feel like I was chosen to break the generational curses. So when you're that person in your family that deviates from the norm and that's striving to be better than the previous generations, you are going to go through it not just in your family system, but you're going to go through it outside your family, because you're labeled as the black sheep, and those experiences are there as a way to teach you lessons and as a way to practically make you grow from the pain and rise from the dead and rise from the burn and the ashes and all of that. So this is a story time. I used to work at this particular place, and when I got there, I was a mess of a person. When I say I was a mess of a person, I used to be very shy. I suffer very badly from social anxiety, and I didn't understand social cues. I was very sheltered. I was to myself. I used to spend a lot of time home on the computer, okay, away from the world, because I just didn't feel safe, and I had really, really low self-esteem at that time. Eventually, I needed a job, and so I went there, and I felt like I was thrown to the wolves because they didn't properly train me. The job was very unprofessional. The people were very street, right? There's nothing wrong with being like street smart, but when I say street, they acted like they were outside hanging out with friends instead of being more professional at the workplace, as you should be, in my opinion. So I went there, and oh my God, like I said, I wasn't properly trained. A lot of things were not said to me. And it took me a while to understand the concept of the job. Eventually, over time, I got really good at it, but I was still shy into myself because I didn't feel safe in that environment, because I was very different than my peers. And they used to kind of like make fun of people, like criticize people's bodies, hair, clothing, and I wasn't into that. I wasn't into like being inappropriate. I wasn't into trying to bully anybody. I wasn't into trying to be a clique because I feel like I'm a one woman army, and like I was introverted. I'm still introverted, but I learned how to be more extroverted in order to survive, because the world caters to extroverts. They don't cater to introverts. So whatever, I was there, and I had this one supervisor that she judged me harshly, even though she used to leave the facility unattended and left me to oversee things while she was gone for hours, going shopping and doing a whole bunch of things she was supposed to be doing while she was still getting paid. So then we had this meeting about how to like business management, and I went to this meeting, and so they were asking certain questions to me. They were normally common sense questions, so I answered them, and she was just, oh my God, I'm so shocked. I had no idea that you were smart. And I'm looking at her like, excuse me? The reason why I'm like, excuse me, is because I was to myself. I was shy, but that's no representation of my intelligence, right? You can't tell if somebody is intelligent or not just because they are extroverted or because they're quiet. That's not a symbolism of intelligence, whatever your personality type is, right? Okay, so prior to that, there was a possible promotion that was coming up, right? And I said I wanted to work in this particular department. She looked at me up and down. She goes, "You?" And she laughed at me and whatever. And she just looked at me, and I stood quiet because I'm like confused as to why she thinks that I can possibly work for this department, because I know what I'm capable of. Even though I'm very quiet, I was quiet to myself at that time. I know inside myself that I know that I'm smart. So I don't need you to tell me whether I'm smart or not, or whatever the case for me. So it ended up happening that at that meeting that I went to, that I answered the question, then all of a sudden she goes, "Oh my God, you're so smart." And I'm looking at her like, but remember when you mocked me and laughed at me, looked at me up and down when I said I wanted to work in this particular department? Fast forward, I ended up applying for this position. I of course had opposition. People that have been there for years were upset because I came in after them, and the possibility of me getting promoted didn't sit well with them, even though I was extremely hardworking. I was just quiet and to myself, and so maybe people either noticed that I was hardworking, or they didn't want to acknowledge the fact that I became the top employee for my particular area. I was the best one, no ifs or buts about it, right? And now that I've been into competition with people, But for me, it meant a lot because I told you guys when I first entered the company, I was a mess. I had really bad social anxiety. So being in that particular job kind of helped me. Like, that's when I figured out that, oh, my voice, there's something about my voice that's valuable. I know how to talk to people. I know how to navigate certain situations or whatever the case might be. Okay, so I applied for this job, and that supervisor that I told you guys that was sucking crap about me, that looked at me up and down, that used to leave me in the facility unattended, that then was impressed by some of the answers I was giving in this meeting that I went to after she mocked me. Then, because she saw other supervisors, 2 or 3 other supervisors that put in the work for me, saying that I was a good worker, she then also agrees with them. But I'm like, boy, weren't you mocking me? So I got there after people, and I ended up getting the promotion. And people were not expecting that at all. So being underestimated, in my opinion, is a blessing because people won't see you coming. People sit here and they overlook you, they mock you, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, so and so is in this position, which, you know, I was so thankful, but it was a bit shocking because I noticed that sometimes in the workplace they promote people that shouldn't get promoted because of who they know and what they know, and like you had to suck up to people's, and I'm like, I'm not kissing no one's butt. I'm doing my job because it's the moral thing for me to do, and I'm getting paid to do so, and I don't need anyone to supervise me. I'm gonna do what the job is asking me to do, as long as it's not illegal or anything out of that sort, or I'm being told to hurt somebody on purpose. Then that's different, right? So okay, fine, that happened. I ended up having my own office, and again, people were trying to make me feel as if I didn't deserve that promotion because they felt some type of way. And so I started dressing up differently, and they used to have little comments about my dressing and my hair and things like that of that nature. At that time, I used to look completely different. So I didn't have braids on my hair. I had a different style. And they, like I said, they used to say little things to make me feel bad about myself for getting that promotion. Now, the people that worked inside the department where I went to, they were different. They acted different. They were more professional, or whatever the case might be. And then I told somebody, so I'm gonna end up being your supervisor, and he laughed in my face. And then months later, I ended up being their supervisor. And he eventually said to me these words that I would never forget as long as I live. He said, well, you changed. I remember when you first came here years ago, I said to myself, that girl, she's not gonna make it. I went from going there, I was per diem, and then I only used to have one day. My checks were like $96 or $93, right? Then I ended up getting more days, covering up more people, then getting more days, then becoming full-time. Then I ended up having my own office because I got promoted. Then I became a shift supervisor. And no one saw me coming. They used to mock me. They used to try to make my life a living hell. But I overcame. And not only that, all of the things that they threw at me only made me stronger. Like, you know how the saying, new levels, new devils? That's definitely for sure. I feel like I'm always going through opposition. But I might get hit by certain things. But I always bounce back different. I end up looking differently, speaking differently, behaving differently. And I feel like I love the fact that people underestimate me because you won't see me coming. I like the fact that people think that they can link up with other people just trying to take me down. And sometimes I might have taken the bait once or twice, but then the third time I learned my lesson. I'm not taking the bait anymore. And next thing you know, I'm somewhere where you thought that I was not going to be. And the thing is about this, that I always made sure to reward or to have those people near me that were loyal to me. But for the most part, if you were disloyal to me in the times where I was down, don't expect me to have you around when I get back up. So being underestimated by people that are to me, in my opinion, low lives, because it's always people, in my opinion, that are low lives. A person that's secure within themselves and that's mature doesn't go around underestimating people that they know that there's something in that person that has the potential to go far away. Some people will just target you because there's an anointing or something on your name, and they can see it before you even do it. So they try to destroy you and sabotage you. So the moral of the story is, doesn't matter who underestimates you, doesn't matter how many haters you have, doesn't matter how many opposition, how many friends become enemies, how many lovers backstab you, right? It doesn't matter. if it's meant for you to be this person, if it's meant for you to become this huge success, you will, even if you fail at times, get back up and prove yourself and your haters wrong. Make them regret ever, 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 ever messing around with you. Peace out, y'all.